Before I made a single dollar in real estate, I remember watching videos just like this one and hoping that someone would finally show me the full picture of what wholesaling real estate looks like and not just flex their checks. So in the next few minutes in this video, I'm going to break down a deal that made us $25,000 in profit in just 30 days from wholesaling real estate without any of the guru BS. I'm going to show you guys how it actually happened. And I'm doing this for one reason, because I remember exactly what it felt like to sit there looking at the screen, wondering if I'd ever close my first $10,000 deal and wondering if this business was real and actually worked. So whether you're trying to get your first deal or you've already closed a couple of deals and you want to scale to consistent $20,000, $30,000 months, there's a link below to book a free one-on-one call with me. But again, there's no pressure at all. The link is there if you guys are serious about building an actual business. So with all that being said, let's jump right into the video. So the reason I said we made $25,000 in profit is because we actually didn't spend a single dime on marketing or the leads. So you're probably sitting there wondering, how in the world is this possible? And how in the heck did you do that? And we did it by following a simple 5-step process. So I'm going to show you exactly how we got the lead, how we turned that lead into a contract, and then how we put that contract and the property on the MLS and found a buyer who then closed and paid us a $25,000 assignment fee in under 30 days. So let's jump right into it. And how did we find the lead? Well, we actually found the lead from a bad wholesaler. This wholesaler reached out to my dispo rep and asked if she would help him find a buyer for this property that he had in North Carolina. Now, my dispo rep is super nice, and she was like, yeah, I'm totally down for it. And throughout the process, something ended up happening where the wholesaler and the homeowner ended up getting into a dispute, which caused the homeowner to back away from the contract. And so the wholesaler just kind of threw his hands up and was like, I guess it's not sellable. But my dispo rep actually found a really good buyer who wanted the property throughout this process. But the issue was there was no valid contract in place anymore. So she ended up reaching out to me, my dispo rep, and since she knows I have really good people skills and knew that I could possibly get the property under contract, she sent me the guy's information and said, hey, this is a really good lead. I have a buyer for the property. If you want to try to reach out to the homeowner and see if you can get this under contract, we can sell it very quick because the buyer's ready to move on it. So I have to figure out if the wholesaler is actually in a breach of a contract, because I don't want to get in trouble doing anything illegal or anything like that. So the wholesaler was luckily out of contract. There was no valid contract in place anymore. So now we're going to call the seller and figure out what the heck is going on. Now, like I mentioned, the lead or the homeowner lived in North Carolina, and the bad wholesaler lives in Georgia. And the problem is, I also live in Georgia. So if the homeowner saw me calling from my cell phone or my CRM, which has Georgia numbers in it, he could probably associate me to that bad wholesaler or think that I'm tied to it in some sort of way. And I didn't want that to happen whatsoever. I didn't want there to be any connection between me and this other bad wholesaler. So I did what any other intelligent, funny, handsome, great business entrepreneur would do. And I got a North Carolina Text Now number for free. So I just plugged in his area code into Text Now, and I ended up getting a free North Carolina area code number. So now we have the lead. Let's talk about how we're going to get this contract now. So we're ready to do outreach since we have the Text Now number. And I actually called this lead multiple times. I called him once, he didn't answer, called him again, didn't answer. And then I left a voicemail and he still didn't answer or call me back. And it was getting pretty late at this point. It was Friday evening and I didn't hear back from him. So I went to ChatGPT and I said, hey, Chat, give me a text to a homeowner who I think might be interested in selling their property. And this is what the text spit out. If you want to sit here and read it, pause the video. But he ended up texting me back and he said, give me a call tomorrow after 10 a.m. So I did. I called him. We spoke for 15 minutes and I made sure on this call to not hard pitch the guy at all. I didn't want to try to get the contract immediately. I just wanted to figure out what the heck was going on. And I also wanted to hear his outcome because there was obviously some pain behind him wanting to sell to begin with. So I wanted to hear, what he was going through and how I could help him reach his desired outcome. So we ended up speaking Friday night. I said, hey, it was great speaking with you. Just to recap, the underwriters are going to qualify the property. Once they approve the property, I'll send everything over to you on an email. And that way we can look at the agreement together. I gave him the whole weekend. So as you can see right here, I said, I'll circle back up with you Monday afternoon. But in the meantime, message me if you have any concerns. And that ended up working out because Monday, I gave him a call and I said, hey, just got everything signed on our end. You're all set. My transaction coordinator, Maria, will actually be reaching out with you shortly to walk you through the next steps and make sure everything goes smooth. Here's her number. I'm excited to get this moving for you. Thank you for choosing Doorstep. All right. And then as you can see right here, here is the purchase agreement that we signed. And here's the address right here. We signed for $350,000. This is crazy because the other wholesaler actually had it under contract for, I think, like $360,000 from what I was told. Now, we got it $10,000 less because I actually sat there and I understood this guy's pain and I presented him with the best possible outcome. All right, so we got the contract signed. Now, the next step is crucial. Now, like I said, my dispo rep already had a buyer in place, but just in case that buyer didn't want to move forward with the property, we market all of our properties on the MLS. Now, you're probably wondering, Gunnar, I thought this was wholesaling. Why in the heck are you putting the property on the MLS? Well, there's two reasons. And number one, we want to get max exposure on this property. We don't want to just sit here and limit ourselves to only selling to cash buyers, especially when we're dealing with a higher valued property. There's not going to be many cash buyers that want to come in and pay over $350,000 cash for a property. So with putting it on the MLS, you can sell to everyone using VA loans, FHA loans, conventional loans, DSCR loans, and things like that, not just limited to cash buyers, but you can also find really high paying cash buyers on the MLS that you can't find using PropStream or batch leads or anything like that. So now that the property is on the MLS, we ended up finding a different buyer who wanted to purchase it because the first buyer wasn't that interested anymore. So we found a different buyer who wanted to purchase it and they were using a DSCR loan. So as you can see here, they offered to purchase this property for $390,000 and they were putting $10,000 down for an earnest money deposit. All right. Now, bear with me because this is where things get a little different because deals on the MLS can get slightly different than deals off market where you're just assigning your rights over to a cash buyer. So like I said, this person is using a DSCR loan. And since we accepted that loan, not all lenders will let you work the transaction like a typical assignment. So this is what the title company sees. The title company sees my company right here, Doorstep, is purchasing the property for $350,000. But when we sign the offer with the other buyer, the title company sees that we are selling a property that we have not purchased yet for $390,000. So you have one purchase agreement where we're buying the property from the seller, and then we have another purchase agreement where a buyer is buying a property from us who is also a buyer. I know it gets confusing, so you're probably wondering, like, how the heck does this even work? So this could go one of two ways, but for this video, I'm only going to explain the one way that we did it, and we actually bought the property. We used our purchase agreement and actually purchased the property because the lender wouldn't allow us to assign our rights over to the buyer. We had to actually buy it. But again, we didn't use any of our own money. We didn't spend a single penny upfront to buy this property. I actually have a really good connection with a transactional lender that I've used for pretty much all of my deals that I do on the MLS. And as you can see here, she says, I will fund 100% to zero out the borrower, which is me, and my fee is 1% to be paid on the B2C. Now, in real estate, in terms like this, A to B is me and seller. That's what A to B means. And then B to C is me and buyers. That's all it is. So you have the A to B purchase agreement, and then you have the B to C. So her fee is to be paid out on the B to C closing. So as you can see here, it was actually less than 1%. She actually only charged $3,000. We paid our lender $3,000 to fund us $350,000, which is less than 1%. And she is to be paid out on closing. So we don't even have to come up with that $3,000 up front. All right, so now we actually purchased the property. Let's talk about the closing date. So on closing day, you'll see the settlement statement. And as you can see right here, we have the name and address of the borrower, which is the person purchasing the property, which is my company, Doorstep Holdings. And right here, we are purchasing it for $350,000. Now, this is what we call a settlement statement, HUD statement, whatever you want to call it, closing statement. These are the HUDs. So we purchased it for $350,000. And in a transactional lending, it's usually same day or next day. So we're not holding these properties for long. We're not buying it and then waiting a week and then selling it. Transactional lenders typically only work where we purchase the property one day and then we sell the property same day or next day. So as you can see here, the settlement date for us purchasing this property for $350,000 was July 31st, 2025. All right. And then we have the B2C transaction, which is where the borrower right here, these are the people that are buying the property from us. And now we are the seller, Doorstep Holdings. And this is where we're selling the property for $390,000. And as you can see here, we sold it on August 1st. So literally the next day, we sold it for $390,000. And then coming over here, this is the same page. I just had to put in two separate screenshots. This is where we made our fee of $25,000. As you can see here, balance due to, and then the seller right here, $25,080.58 is the same exact wire that I was wired on August 4th on the closing day. Now, it took a minute for the wire to come in because that was a Friday. We closed on August 1st and I ended up getting the wire on Monday, which was August 4th. So this is exactly how we were able to make $25,000 in profit in under 30 days without spending a single dollar on leads. So if you guys want a more hands-on experience on how to do this step by step, the link to book a call with me is completely free and it's in the description below. If you want to see more videos just like this, make sure you leave a comment down below. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.